Stay calm and let the universe deliver what you deserve. Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Buddha. In a world that glorifies control and constant effort, we forget that the universe already moves in perfect rhythm. You don't have to chase what's meant for you. You only have to stop resisting it. Calmness is not passivity. It's power. It's the silent confidence that what is truly yours cannot be taken away, and what isn't meant for you will never stay. As you listen to this message, ask yourself, are you allowing life to unfold, or are you trying to force the bloom before it's time? Share your reflections in the comments, because here, on Dharma Pulse, every thought becomes a seed of awakening. 1. Let go of control. Surrender brings peace. You block your blessings the moment you try to control everything. Like the sky that releases the storm to restore its balance, peace is born not from control, but from surrender. The tighter you grip, the more life resists. But when you loosen your hands, when you release your attachment to how things should be, the universe begins to flow through you. In that flow, you realize that control was never real. It was only fear disguised as logic. Buddhism teaches that clinging is the root of suffering, and mindfulness reveals the doorway out. Awareness without attachment, action without obsession, presence without demand. We live in a world that glorifies control plans, deadlines, predictions, perfection. But the human spirit was never designed to move under pressure. It was designed to move with rhythm. When you stop fighting against what is, when you begin to trust the intelligence of life itself, something miraculous happens. The storm calms, not because the weather changed, but because you stop trying to change it. You discover that the universe does not respond to control. It responds to vibration. The energy you send out through your thoughts and emotions creates your reality. When you vibrate at peace, peace becomes your magnet. To surrender does not mean to give up. It means to cooperate with what is. You begin to see that nothing is truly lost when you let go of what is meant for you cannot pass you by. The more you release, the lighter you become, and the lighter you become, the faster your blessings arrive. Every moment of control is an act of distrust in the universe's timing, but every act of surrender is a declaration of faith. When you stop chasing, what is yours begins to approach naturally. In this way, letting go becomes the highest form of mastery. For mastery is not about domination, it is about harmony. Mindfulness allows you to witness your need for control without judgment. You see that it comes from fear of uncertainty, fear of failure, fear of pain. Yet the very thing you fear is what sets you free. The river does not fear its bends. It trusts that every turn leads it closer to the sea. When you embody that same trust, your life begins to move in divine rhythm. What once felt chaotic now feels guided. What once felt delayed now feels perfectly timed. The peace you were searching for through control has always been waiting in surrender. When you truly let go, your frequency shifts. You no longer vibrate at anxiety or lack. You begin to operate from acceptance and flow. That shift in energy changes everything around you. Your relationships, your opportunities, your health, your perception of time. Buddhism calls this living in the present moment, where there is no struggle, only awareness. From this space, you become one with the universe's current, moving effortlessly through life's waves. Surrender, then, is not an ending. It is a beginning. The moment you stop forcing and start allowing. When control dissolves and peace finally takes its place, comment below, "I trust the flow of life," if you're ready to surrender control and let the universe bring you what's already meant for you. 2. Observe your mind. Awareness is freedom. Peace begins the moment you stop wrestling with your thoughts and start witnessing them. Buddhist wisdom reminds you that awareness is freedom, not control. Meditation is not an escape from the mind. It is a mirror that shows you how your thoughts rise and fall, how they twist and fade, how none of them truly belong to you. Be like a still lake reflecting the moon, clear, undisturbed, and calm. Every ripple that appears on its surface eventually disappears, yet the lake remains whole, untouched. The same is true for you. Beneath the waves of thought, beneath the noise of anxiety and doubt, there is a vast awareness, unchanging, unshaken, infinite. You are not the turbulence of your thoughts. You are the stillness that witnesses them. When you begin to observe instead of react, something extraordinary happens. The storm loses its grip. Thoughts that once ruled you start to dissolve under the light of awareness. This is the quiet revolution of Buddhist wisdom. It doesn't demand that you suppress or escape your emotions, only that you see them clearly. Watching without judgment, you discover that anger, fear, and desire are not enemies to be defeated, but guests that eventually leave when not entertained. Each thought you observe without clinging becomes lighter, softer, almost transparent. And through meditation, you learn to rest in this clarity, where even chaos becomes a form of order, and what once felt unbearable becomes beautifully simple. Most people mistake their thoughts for truth, believing that every inner voice is a command to obey. But what if you realized that the one who hears the thoughts is not the thought itself? That there is a silent witness behind all the noise. When you become the observer, not the thinker, you are free. You begin to see that the mind is like a passing cloud, while awareness is the endless sky. Clouds come and go, sometimes heavy with rain, sometimes glowing with light, but the sky remains. Meditation is the art of remembering this. It gently returns you to what you've always been: open, limitless, at peace. In that space of pure observation, you stop fighting life. You start flowing with it. Resistance creates suffering. Acceptance dissolves it. The universe has always known what to bring and when. When you surrender control, you allow life to unfold with its own intelligence. You no longer push against the current, you move with it. Buddhist wisdom teaches that true power lies not in domination, but in harmony, not in forcing outcomes, but in aligning with the natural rhythm of existence. Awareness transforms pain into understanding and noise into silence. Every moment becomes a teacher when you are awake enough to listen. Meditation is that listening. It is how you see the truth beneath illusion, how you realize that nothing was ever missing. You begin to act, not from fear or impulse, but from clarity. You stop reacting. You start responding. Like a still lake that reflects everything yet holds on to nothing, you remain calm in both storm and sunlight. Awareness is not a destination. It is your true home, the quiet center that has always been waiting beneath the chaos of thought. 3. Align your energy. The universe responds to vibration. The universe doesn't listen to words. It listens to the quiet pulse of your energy. Every thought is a vibration. Every emotion a frequency. Every intention a signal you send into the invisible field of creation. The moment you understand this, you stop speaking to life with fear and start communicating through your vibration. Buddha once said, "What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create." When your thoughts are chaotic, your energy becomes noise, and the world mirrors that confusion back to you. But when you align with calm, gratitude, and faith, you shift into harmony with the higher rhythm of existence, and the universe cannot help but respond in kind. Your inner state is the true architect of your outer world. Picture yourself as a radio station. If you keep broadcasting doubt and impatience, you can't expect to receive the frequency of peace or fulfillment. Many people try to shout at the universe through effort and control, mistaking noise for power. Yet energy doesn't respond to noise. It responds to resonance. When your vibration is calm, your signal becomes clear, and life begins to move in synchrony with you. There is no need to chase what is meant for you. What's aligned with your energy will always find its way home. Healing begins the moment you realize that the chaos outside you is only a reflection of the storm within. If you radiate fear, you attract resistance. If you radiate trust, you magnetize ease. This is not magic. It is the natural science of energy. Everything is energy, Einstein said, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. Every emotion you nurture, every thought you repeat, is like tuning your inner instrument. When you play the notes of peace, the universe hums along. When you play the notes of anxiety, it echoes the same back to you. True spirituality is not about running away from the world, but aligning your energy so deeply that the world adjusts itself around you. Healing is not a process of becoming someone new, but remembering who you were before fear taught you to contract. When you surrender control and rest in faith, you stop fighting the current and start flowing with the river of life. The energy of peace doesn't demand, it invites. The energy of gratitude doesn't chase, it magnetizes. The energy of faith doesn't beg, it allows. And when you live in this frequency, the universe becomes your silent ally, rearranging circumstances to meet you halfway. Every day is a conversation with the universe through your vibration. When your mind grows restless, pause and ask, what energy am I sending out right now? Because energy never lies, it always returns in the form of experience. Calm your breath, soften your thoughts, and let your emotions settle like clear water. When your inner world becomes still, reflection appears naturally. This is the law of vibration at work, the sacred bridge between thought and manifestation. You don't need to speak louder to be heard. You only need to vibrate higher. When you align your energy with calm, gratitude, and faith, life begins to echo your peace back to you, proving again and again that the universe doesn't respond to words. It responds to energy. If this message resonates with you, take a deep breath and align your energy with peace. Comment below, I am in harmony with the universe, to affirm your commitment to raising your vibration and letting life unfold with ease. 4. Trust the process. Faith over fear. You don't need to see the entire path to take the next step. In Buddhism, mindfulness teaches that peace does not come from knowing every turn ahead, but from trusting the rhythm of life itself. Like a river flowing toward the ocean, your journey unfolds even when the destination is unseen. Life's pauses are not rejections, but sacred preparations. Moments when the universe quietly rearranges everything on your behalf. When you replace worry with faith, the current begins to carry you, and what once felt like delay transforms into divine timing. Fear feeds on the illusion of control, whispering that you must grasp tighter, move faster, or force results. But faith knows that when you let go, reality begins to flow in alignment with your highest vibration. The Buddha taught that attachment is the root of suffering. To cling is to resist the very force that sustains you. Mindfulness allows you to observe rather than grasp, to breathe rather than demand, to exist rather than insist. The more you try to control, the more turbulence arises within you. But when you surrender, the water clears, and truth reveals itself through stillness. This surrender is not passivity. It is the highest form of intelligence. Faith, in its purest form, is not blind belief, but energetic alignment with the natural order of existence. It is the quiet recognition that the same force that moves galaxies also moves through you, guiding your steps even in the dark. A lotus does not rush to bloom. It rises through the mud with patience, allowing the sunlight and water to do their silent work. So too must you rise through your uncertainty. Each season of waiting refines your energy. Each trial polishes the mirror of your soul. When mindfulness becomes your way of being, every moment turns into a teacher, every breath into a lesson in trust. You realize that nothing is truly delayed. Everything arrives at the exact frequency of your readiness. To walk this path is to embody calm confidence, knowing that every experience, no matter how small, is the universe's way of preparing you for expansion. Society teaches you to chase, go faster, achieve more, prove your worth. But Buddhism whispers a different truth. What you chase, you repel. What you trust, you attract. When your vibration is anchored in faith, the universe responds not to your impatience, but to your peace. The mind obsessed with control becomes its own cage, but the mind surrendered to awareness becomes a doorway to liberation. In the practice of mindfulness, trust becomes your mantra, faith your compass, and surrender your greatest strength. You no longer swim against the current. You become the current itself. The delays you once feared now appear as divine choreography, guiding you toward the life that was always meant for you. Fear dissolves, faith expands, and in that quiet expansion, you discover what it means to truly be free. 5. Practice detachment. Create space for miracles. To practice detachment is to touch the silent core of Buddhist wisdom, a place where strength and surrender are not opposites, but one breath. Detachment is not rejection. It is a higher trust, a soft opening to the natural rhythm of life. Be empty like bamboo, strong in structure, yet hollow enough for the wind to pass through. The bamboo does not fight the storm. It bends and rises again, untouched by pride or fear. In the same way, when you loosen your grip on people, results, and expectations, you stop blocking the divine flow of miracles. Every time you cling, you create resistance. Every time you release, you make space for peace. To let go is not to stop caring. It is to stop controlling. It is to know that the universe has a better plan than your anxious mind could ever design. You only lose what you cling to, said the Buddha. These words are not a warning. They are liberation. The moment you let go of your need to shape outcomes, life begins to shape itself around your calmness. Detachment is born not from coldness, but from courage. The courage to trust timing instead of fear. Through meditation, you learn to rest in the middle of uncertainty, to breathe through the storm instead of running from it. Meditation is the art of returning home to the present moment, where divine timing speaks in silence. It teaches you that everything you chase is already on its way, but it cannot reach you while you're running. Attachment, however, blinds you. It makes you believe that effort alone creates results, that if you just push harder, life will bend to your will. But Buddhist wisdom reveals a paradox. It is not effort, but energy that moves the universe. When your energy is tense, your blessings cannot enter. When you relax, you become magnetic. Detachment turns waiting into preparation and loss into transformation. It shifts your mindset from, "Why isn't it here yet?" to, "It's already coming, and I am becoming ready." Each moment of surrender becomes a quiet invitation for miracles to unfold. The purpose of detachment is not to empty your heart, but to clear its pathways. The universe cannot fill what is already full of worry. When you practice detachment, you let go of the illusion of control and return to harmony with the flow of existence. You begin to see that what falls away was never yours, and what remains was never lost. The closed hand holds nothing. The open palm receives everything. That is the paradox of spiritual abundance. You receive the most when you stop grasping. Through meditation, you train your mind to see impermanence not as tragedy, but as truth. You learn to let emotions move through you without building walls or stories around them. You stop reacting and start witnessing. From that stillness, peace arises naturally, not because the world changed, but because your relationship with it did. Detachment becomes your superpower, the state where you no longer chase life, but attract it effortlessly. The more you let go, the more you align with divine timing, and the more you realize that nothing real can ever be taken from you. What is meant for you is not hiding. It is simply waiting for you to create space for it to arrive. If this message has spoken to your heart, I'd love to hear from you. Comment below. I create space for miracles to affirm your trust in the flow of the universe. Your voice inspires others on this path of calm and detachment. Thank you for watching. Let's keep walking this mindful journey together. 6. Cultivate stillness. Calm is power. Stillness is not the absence of movement, but the highest form of control, the purest expression of mastery. When you are calm, you are not weak. You are aware, deliberate, and fully awake. In silence, your true energy begins to rise, quietly transforming confusion into clarity. A calm mind is like a candle burning in still air, steady, unwavering, and luminous. It does not flicker at every gust of chaos, nor does it chase every shadow of thought. It simply exists, radiating its light effortlessly. In the same way, when your mind is calm, your actions gain precision, your words carry power, and your presence becomes magnetic. This is where spirituality becomes real, not in temples or rituals, but in the space between your thoughts, where wisdom breathes and healing begins. The world glorifies noise and speed, but the soul thrives in stillness. Society teaches you to chase, to compete, to prove yourself worthy. Yet each act of rushing pulls you further from your center. Like ripples disturbing a lake, constant motion blurs your reflection until you can no longer see who you are. But when you become still, the waters of your being settle, and the truth reflects back at you with perfect clarity. Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without, said the Buddha. And those who understand this live in a different dimension of awareness. Calmness is not about escaping life, but mastering it from within, seeing beyond reaction into pure perception. It's the art of letting things unfold in divine timing, rather than forcing outcomes with restless hands. True healing happens when your energy stops fighting itself. Every time you resist what is, you create tension in your spirit. Every time you surrender to the moment, you restore harmony. In stillness, your vibration becomes whole again. The fractures of fear, doubt, and overthinking begin to close. You realize that the universe was never against you. It was simply waiting for you to slow down enough to hear its whisper. When you release control, you are not giving up. You are giving space for the divine to move through you. Like an ocean wave that returns effortlessly to shore, your life begins to move with rhythm, not resistance. Calmness is the language of trust. The more you trust, the less you struggle. And the less you struggle, the more miracles find their way to you. In stillness, you no longer chase because you know everything meant for you is already on its way. The greatest strength lies not in action, but in alignment. When your inner world is at peace, your outer world naturally follows. Calmness becomes your shield and your sword. It protects you from chaos and cuts through illusion. You no longer react. You respond. You no longer panic. You perceive. You no longer seek to dominate. You learn to flow. To cultivate stillness is to stand as the eye of the storm, untouched by its winds, yet aware of its power. Your calm becomes a silent revolution in a world addicted to noise. It is the quiet defiance of someone who no longer needs to prove their worth. From this space, your spirituality deepens, your energy expands, and your very presence becomes healing to those around you. The candle does not announce its light. It simply shines. So too does the calm soul. 7. Heal within. Your world reflects your inner state. Your world bends to the shape of your inner landscape. It is not separate from you, but a mirror reflecting the tone of your consciousness. When your mind is clouded with guilt, fear, and a sense of unworthiness, the outer world faithfully projects these shadows back at you in the form of chaos, rejection, or endless striving. But when you heal the wounds within through compassion and mindful awareness, the mirror clears and life begins to respond with harmony. In the stillness of mindfulness, you realize that the universe was never withholding anything from you. It was only echoing what you believed you deserved. The teachings of Buddhism remind us that the external world is not our master, but our reflection. Every experience, pleasant or painful, is a teacher revealing the quality of our vibration. To change the reflection, we must first change the energy that creates it. Healing from within begins not with control, but with surrender. It asks you to stop running from your pain and instead turn toward it with compassion. When you observe your suffering without judgment, it loses its power to dominate you. Pain then becomes a passage, not a prison. This is the art of mindfulness, to be fully present with what is, without clinging or resisting. Every emotion becomes a message rather than a punishment. Fear whispers that you have forgotten your strength. Anger reveals where love is missing. Sadness uncovers what the heart has outgrown. By embracing these messengers, you release the energetic blockages that keep you trapped in repetitive patterns. Buddhism teaches that attachment is the root of suffering. We cling to identities, relationships, and desires as if they define us. And when life shifts, we panic, mistaking impermanence for loss. Yet impermanence is not your enemy. It is the rhythm of existence guiding you toward greater awareness. When you learn to let go, you stop swimming against the current of life. You allow the universe to carry you where you are meant to be. In this surrender, you discover peace, not the fragile peace that depends on perfect conditions, but the eternal calm that arises when you trust the unfolding of life itself. Self-love becomes your gateway to freedom. It is not the loud affirmation of ego, but the silent recognition that you are already one with the universe. When you stop punishing yourself for being imperfect, you open the door for grace to flow through you. Compassion begins to radiate outward naturally, touching others not through effort, but through presence. You become a field of healing energy, a reminder that peace is contagious. The Buddha said, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." When you embody this truth, you no longer chase what is already yours. You attract it effortlessly. As your vibration rises, reality reorganizes itself to match your new frequency. The people, opportunities, and synchronicities that appear are not rewards. They are reflections. When you walk through life with mindfulness and compassion, you align your energy with the natural intelligence of the cosmos. You no longer need to force outcomes because you are in resonance with the flow. Healing within is not a private act. It is a sacred offering to existence itself. The universe is a mirror. It cannot give you peace until you have found it within. When you do, every breath becomes a prayer, every moment a reflection of your awakened heart. If this message speaks to your heart, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Your journey of inner healing and peace is just beginning, and every new lesson will help your world reflect the calm within you. 8. Live in trust. Let life flow naturally. Stop resisting the natural flow of life. The more you fight against what is, the more suffering you create within yourself. Buddhist wisdom teaches that peace is not born from control, but from surrender and acceptance of impermanence and trust in the unfolding of each moment. Life is not meant to be conquered. It is meant to be experienced consciously. Just as clouds drift effortlessly across the sky and the lotus blooms beautifully in muddy water, you too can rise above your conditions when you stop clinging to how things should be. True meditation is not escape. It is presence. It is the art of witnessing without interference, allowing everything to pass through you like wind through an open window. When you quiet the constant chatter of your desires, the universe begins to speak in silence. It does not reward frantic effort, but harmonizes with calm energy. Ask yourself, how many times have you lost your peace trying to rush something that would have come naturally in its own time? How often have you mistaken control for safety or anxiety for progress? The universe does not respond to panic, it responds to presence. When your heart is still, clarity arises. When your energy is steady, life aligns effortlessly. This is why Buddhist meditation trains the mind to watch thoughts instead of obeying them. The observer, the one who watches without judgment, becomes free. In that freedom, trust grows. To trust life is not to sit back passively. It is to move through uncertainty with grace. It is to walk forward even when the path is hidden, knowing that each step is guided by something larger than logic. As Buddha said, you only lose what you cling to. So release the need to control outcomes, people, and timing. Let go of the illusion that life must unfold according to your plan. When you trust, you stop chasing what's meant to find you. You stop searching for meaning and start living meaningfully. You begin to understand that what feels like delay is protection. What feels like loss is transformation. Through the lens of Buddhist wisdom, every experience of joy, pain, stillness, or chaos becomes a teacher. You start to see that suffering is not punishment, but purification, clearing away the noise that blocks you from receiving what is already on its way. The act of letting go becomes a sacred practice. The heart becomes lighter, the mind becomes quiet, and the soul begins to breathe again. You no longer demand from life, you cooperate with it. You no longer grasp what you allow. You no longer strive to get what you deserve. You simply become someone who can receive it. When you embody calm confidence, the universe mirrors that energy back to you. When your thoughts and actions arise from faith rather than fear, your entire reality transforms. The lotus blooms not because it forces the mud to change, but because it trusts the process. In the same way, your peace, patience, and presence become the soil where miracles grow. Trust is not laziness, it is alignment. Meditation is not withdrawal, it is return. And when you finally stop resisting the flow of life, you realize that what you sought was never outside of you. It was always waiting for you to be still enough to let it in. In the end, remember that true peace is not found through control, but through trust. As the Buddha taught, you only lose what you cling to. The universe moves in its own rhythm. Your task is not to chase, but to align. When you let go of fear and surrender your need to force outcomes, life begins to flow with quiet perfection. Every delay hides divine timing. Every silence carries a lesson in faith. So stay calm, stay centered, and let the universe work on your behalf. Have you ever experienced a moment when letting go brought you exactly what you were waiting for? Share your story in the comments below. Your insight might just be the message someone else needs today.